Hello, and welcome back to the B stream. B for bloody hell. Have you seen what's just happened on the A stream? I won't spoil it, but I'm sure a very quick peruse will tell you everything. I am Fluke, and this is Milosh. What we do have is another elimination game ahead of us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very much looking forward to knocking out yet another team from the major.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Look, we can't have everybody winning a trophy at the end of it, right?
Well, what we can have is a bracket. So let's actually cut the surprises, have a look in. Oh my. Gideon. So, SSG and Liquid were both qualified earlier on in the day. They're sitting to watch, and what they've watched so far is G2 and Cruelty are the first two teams eliminated from the Manchester Major. One of those, I think, was kind of expected, and one of those you wouldn't have put in anyone's predictions, I think.
I would. I would in mine.
Wow.
Look, there's two teams that have hated in some ways.
You hate them.
Over this stage.
Strong
it's been
words.
G2. Hate is a strong word, but I really, really love Siege. But G2 and Liquid have had disappointing runs in the stage. Liquid recovered, looking great, wonderful. They make it through. G2, you know what? Barely lost yesterday to Team Liquid. Like, you know what? They can bring it back. Not going to be that big of an issue. Next day, they're playing Fear X. All right, all looking good. And then you get a map 1, getting smashed. Go to map 2, great. It's looking nice. Consulate. You come back. Is it a fluke or not? Don't worry about it. Fluke is right here. But we go to map 3, Skyscraper, and Fear X is just running circles around G2 up until the very end to finish it. I believe it was 7-4 or 7-5 to close out that game, which means G2 are out. Bleed will be playing Fear X later for a spot in Phase 2. But now our focus on the B stream will be GK and Cyclops Athlete Gaming Osaka.
One of these two teams will be making it towards the playoffs. One of these two teams will not be. It will be the end of their journey. Everything to play for here, and I'm going to be honest, it's kind of a hard one to predict. You have GK, they've come up from MENA, they've come up in the new system, they've been able to have a couple of appearances. They haven't always been great, let's be honest, but they haven't played full strength. And it's their first sort of anticipation of playing on a major stage. Against them, Cyclops Osaka, once upon a time, the darlings of not just their region of Japan, but as the Asia-Pacific region as a whole. They had huge runs, and then they fell a bit out of favor. Now, they're trying to reclaim some of that glory, and to get through it, they've got to get through one of those teams that's trying to build their own glory.
Absolutely. And, CAG, there was a time, as you say, that they were at the top, right? If I remember correctly, 3 years ago, when we were sat in Paris for the Invitational that was moved during the old times. And we're like, yo, CAG are going to do this. It's going to be looking great. And, the start of it was not too shabby. We've only just gotten back to kind of playing in some sort of venue. So there was hope. And it kept getting bigger and bigger and better as time moved on. Unfortunately, the term CAG'd it was invented at that point because it could mean two things.
You get CAG'd.
You get CAG'd, or CAG have CAG'd it, which means either they did great
they got CAG'd.
or awful. Absolutely. And that's what happened. But that's the big question now. Have they learned from the previous game versus Liquid, or will there be more to show still?
We have our first 4 bans here. Labs, Bank, Border, Clubhouse, all removed now. They sort of played a mix across these two. We've seen GK obviously put a bit of performance in on Club and not quite get themselves going. Cyclops, they're not even going to try and double down. They don't want to try and bring it back. And a similar sort of story I think is worth saying about Labs on the back end. But Consulate and Chalet. Chalet being the pick from Cyclops. Currently, I've got GK as 4-0 on it, a very high preference map and something they're happy to go into. And then Consulate, it's a little bit of a back and forth between the pair of them. But although it's nothing we've really got Cyclops too much data on, they aren't the ones that ban it. They have a game here. We're going to get a taste of it. Absolutely.
Now, our decider, should we need it, will be Cafe Dostoevsky, where Cyclops starting off on defense. Of course, they had the final ban taking out Oregon from rotation. And there we are. Our 3 maps are set in stone: Consulate, Chalet, and Cafe. Once more for everybody watching. Cyclops will start on defense on the first map, and that'll be GK on defense on the second, and third will be Cyclops back on defense. Now, we did see GK playing Consulate only earlier today, and much like both of the maps that they ended up playing against Team Liquid, they looked very unidimensional when it comes to what sort of attacks they can offer, right? They could defend decently, but that's kind of... it's expected at this point, right? Attack, every round is worth its weight in gold.
We saw the same from CAG. As I said, they don't really ban it.
True.
They have a game there. They were brought on it earlier on today. It was a 7-5 against Cruelty, who are now eliminated. I'm not going to say it was the sort of strongest game. I'm not going to say it was the best game. There needs to be a bit more. And this is that point of curiosity of saying, although it's a high preference and although they've technically gone 1-0 on it, there is something in that 7-5 performance that has been read here a bit by Geekay, and they think that they can try and put the pressure onto it and bring it to its end. So, doubling down on a map across both, across the day, I overall have a little bit of a lean towards Geekay with these maps.
I actually agree, especially for looking at the past performance just earlier today from both the squads, but especially Geekay. A castle ban, now that is spicy here for our first map in Consulate. Ying taken out by CAG. Not surprising. I think Geekay are going to be quite happy with that ban. It's not really going to impact their game. I was surprised because I think Geekay would have actually banned Ying themselves because of the amount of kind of oppression that she was fielded with or against them by Team Liquid earlier on in the day. But a Monty ban coming out on top of it. What are CAG known for? They've been known for shield play for ages now, Monty being a highlight operator for them. Of course, Blitz is always a great replacement in this situation. There's a lot of flexibility possible for both of the teams, and the big question is, which CAG are we gonna get today in this very specific game? Because this is back against the wall, right? You win this, you make it through. You don't, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to play it again through the stage at the end of the year. And we'll see if you can make it to the next major in Montreal.
It starts, as it often does on this map, all the way on the top floor here, and we'll find potentially a bit of a drive, as you said. The removal of the shield. Yes, Anaton is a fantastic shield player, but Monty is a fantastic shield, especially for this map. Ying, again, Ying and his army, I think, are the most common banned attacker and defender separately. Currently statistically running into this. I'll have to double check those numbers a bit because obviously we cannot see every single game. However, coming into this player, they just still have that driving force where the people are now questioning, hey, what's going to happen with Ying? Are they going to get themselves removed? The hold here across the top was attempted to be smashed by Geekay a few times by an admin take. In fact, every time they tried to get themselves around on that side, and it wasn't ever really successful. Again, if it's lessons learned, that's a really good first taste because attack was where Geekay sort of fell a bit apart.
This is what Geekay was kind of expecting that would happen when they're playing against Liquid, is that they would just get an easy pick onto the reinforcement on balcony, and they can play around through that. Now, of course, the mirror window is there. It's a bit of an annoyance, but you're opening things up so that the Grim can use their launchers later on in the round if you're planning to go for a projector take, which is kind of the time-consuming piece. But that was not the biggest problem that Geekay faced. It was mostly them not being able to take control of Soda and this big desk. And so far, it's looking much better than we've had before because, believe it or not, CAG are not even in this position. There is one shield that's going to get taken down now with a nade from Blaz, and a second also into the cubby hallway here to make it all nice and clean. So far, checklist activated very quickly. Nobody pushing x.ke. He's going to have this entire balcony to his own to breach.
A bomb has been located.
No early bodies being offered, no early aggression being led into. That was one of the lessons learned, again, as a reflection towards the earlier game against Liquid here from the side of Geekay, of making sure that when they go for the snap, there is a lot of consistency in the trade. Think about all the times we're putting the pressure here onto the vending corridor, the long cut across, and Nesk is just happy to pull one, get a step back in, pull the next. Blaz finds Blackroom. The opening kill goes into the favor of the Thinker that's holding onto the back end. I'm not sure if they entirely know about the player that's just swung round, but they're still locking down the vertical. Inside the plant, Anaton shoots everywhere, but on the player themselves. Shurip's there to double up and offer some support. Blast is just getting out of there because he doesn't want to lose it. Chibisu almost does, and does, get down and caught out by Trix. There's Anaton caught. There's the plant being confirmed, and I mean, Geekay absolutely exploded a hold over here. Great C4, but really, it's a band-aid on a worse wound. 2 to 3, though, suddenly. a little bit of excitement. They're going for the plant once again. They've picked the kit back up. Key's watching it. There's still some vertical, and they've forgotten about Shuri, but 2 versus 1! And I complimented the approach, but the landing has been abysmal here from the side of GK. The last fight down the stairs itself seriously knows he's got a 1 versus 1, but he's only got 10 seconds. So he's still going to try and drive this. The fight on the side itself goes for the hold on the plant, tries to bait a window against the mirror, and it's just a pullback duo.
I cannot believe that things spiraled out of control like this. After all of it, yeah, there we go. CAG are like, okay, yeah, we got the round. Just cool it down. Keep that energy for the entirety of this map, and you're going to be looking nice and pretty through it. GK had control of the round, and then they lost the linchpin. Blaz, great on the entry, on the Finca. There was a lot of work that was being done on the opposite end just because the Grim was able to just open up the balcony without any contention or problems, despite the mirror window being in that spot. Honestly, all of the setup for it, great by GK, and then CAG just kind of moved around it. They found some openings, and they actually were able to go down those stairs and used admin to their advantage and pulled GK's attention to too many different spots at the same time. Because there's so many rooms in here, Emmy, they close in on you very quickly if you're not attentive. Here, CAG will be going to the middle floor and will be playing down in piano. At least not going all the way down. This does require a lot of verticality, which is exactly why you're seeing CAG setting up in a console. Mirror windows aplenty with a clash as well. Fenrir on the site and a dock just in case with a shotgun. I'm loving the kind of big flexibility in numbers and types of operators we're getting.
I mean, it's always been a region that's happy to explore the possibilities of this game. They're happy to sort of see how wide and how much wiggle room they can really get. The French shotgun, once upon a time, was heralded as the worst gun in the game. Not as bad at this point, but also not really the preference when you can have an ACOG in that position as well. So you've got to be playing something very specific here, Chibasu, and that is the heavy hold. As you sort of alluded to, when you're keeping the lockdown, all of it can be caught vertically. The problem right now is Anaton. It's a very beefy operator, but it is one that can get encircled, and it is one that is slow and noisy. It's not really going to have the biggest impact on somebody trying to plant on the floor below you. He's just going to see if he can lead that intel and hold the fight here as long as possible. A big encircling around admin that will slowly close down. It's a big letter C. He's trying to find the singular point to allow Key the space to move in on the back.
And there you go. All the Bs have been expended here by the Grim just to kind of push, and that is x.ke, by the way, just pushing people out of range of the mirror window, but nothing to follow up on it. x.ke's now moved on. He'll be heard in the spot, and even more Bs to push his opponents back. Anatune, they know exactly where he is. He's going to have to fall back behind the reinforcement, but Blaz is looking for a kill. He is on the hunt.
Well, what we're on the hunt for is just finding new viewers and friends, and that's all coming from the A stream as Shuri gets rid of Trix. We are looking at an elimination game and a salvation game. The winner of this series, not this map specifically, will find themselves into the next stage. The loser is gone. There's a bit of damage back done by Blaz, swinging around onto the shelf. He's able to get himself a bigger impact on this map so far than he was against Liquid, and you're sort of questioning the decisions by Chibasu there. The C4 does get two! Black Ray, once again, able to start getting them into a position here where we've seen a 2 versus 5 clutch. That was the previous round, Milos. CAG pulled it back then, and here, from a single C4, they've suddenly got themselves to the 2 versus 2, and one of them is Anaton on a shield.
And you have to drop into windows in this case, either through a hatch and down a window to get into the site itself. You're going to be faced with just a shield right in front of you. You got a mirror right behind, and of course, the Vector just shreds through players up close and personal. There's x.ke in pretty much the unlimited range here. At least they're gonna get some intel with the Bees. Black Ray somehow alive with barely any HP. Anatune is slowing down the entrance of the Grim, swapping off the secondary and just continuing on the frustration of facing the shield. But where is Neskin? Help it here, please, for the love of God. But CAG has gotten the round, slow things down, and they cannot even believe it themselves, Emmy.
It's 2-2. 2 rounds in a row, GK, lessons learned from, as I said, Liquid, their game earlier. Now, both these teams, for context, if you've missed them, played this map earlier today. It was lost by GK 5-7 against Liquid. It was won by CAG 7-5 against Cruelty. And you sort of, when you get the double down, when you get yourself back into it, especially as it is GK's decision to bring us here, your eyes are on them, more than they're on CAG at first.
Yeah.
And those attacks was where things fell apart for them against Liquid. Different teams, different mentalities. But 2 rounds the same way of getting that body advantage and having it ripped away from you. Not as tragic as the first round, but still a consistency that you don't like to have.
No, honestly, it is incredible. Black Ray was in the right place at the right time, and that is just part of Siege, right? We call it Siege timing for a reason. Right place, right time. Great Nitro Cell had the proper reaction. You could throw the Nitro where it was needed. You take out 2 players, and suddenly that 4v2 disappears in an instant. And with a shield against you, especially when it's a clash, it is not an easy one. x.ke doubles up upon Shuri to close out and get 1 kill. And Chibisu trying. CAG know what's up.
Someone else.
We need to destabilize GK.
CAG are cagging. That's the worry right now. I've seen this team throw themselves out of more Siege maps than any other across the many years we've been able to cast them, and if they start getting confident, it's that conversation we have about experience and about ambition and about getting themselves set. Although, technically and statistically, GK have had the better recent runs. This is the first time they're hitting this event with this proper roster. This is the first time that they've been able to sort of get their ground together. And for some of them, like Blaz, it's the first time playing a major ever.
Yeah.
CAG have experience. Although there's a spread of teams, recently they've been across different boards. Blaz is almost caught out just by the Fenrir, and Shuri, who has been a bit of a power player, is unfortunately pinched pretty cleanly. But now they're in the middle of CAG's hold. You've still got Cyreneko above. He's going to see if he can try and win out his fight before he knows he'll get surrounded.
Good kill there to take down the Fenrir. That's something that's going to frustrate you as the round gets deeper and deeper, though. Cyreneko is still at the top floor. You heard the calls from the Dokebi, so Trixton, the team, should know what's going on here. And Chibisu is hiding in the bathroom. Is there somebody that's going to walk into him? Somebody's going to hear and do something about him? No! Chibisu gets 1 kill on Blaz. He looks for the second. Close to getting it. SMG in hand goes in, but the drop, the Dolphin dive with the DMR gets it. The other from Cyreneko. 3-1, and 1 is left alive. Trix on his own. There's the SMG kill.
He got 2. Cyreneko got 2. He was in a box, and they had all the utility in the world, Milos, and they still could not remove that man. Called, cornered, and unfortunately sent packing. A 2 versus 1. Now, we've seen man-body advantages be thrown asunder and put to his side before. Still very possible. A lot of time and a great gun in the hands of a great gunner here. But how can he try and isolate these 2 players? How can he try and force this into 2 engagements? That isn't the best way of doing it.
Through the fire and flames is what GK is going to have to do to take down CAG. This is what we were talking about. You do not know what Cyclops you're going to get. No matter the game, no matter the round, no matter the map, no matter the day even, it seems like there is a secret sauce. And when it hits, CAG just look like the best team in the world. And when it does not, it's awful, which is why we're talking about CAG and the like. In this case, GK looked more disjointed than we've seen them through this entire game. And frankly, if they lose this next round, I think they should have already called timeout at this point, because it's clear that there's issues.
This is the half that has plagued them all day. Now, we do get to obviously sort of prephase this with a couple of conversations. One of them is the fact that GK are here because of a game that they lost much earlier on in the day against Liquid that confirmed them about 2.5, 3 hours ago at this point. It's this topic of conversation that, you know, we'll always sort of ask Fox about and ask Lax of whether you prefer to roll yourself straight in, whether you prefer to get warmed up. And people don't like to cool off. They want to keep going.
Absolutely.
CAG has come in hot. They've come in off the back of their, 2-map victory against Cruelty. They're straight into a similar series with the same starting map. It's almost like they have the freshest possible dry run for it, and you can see it in the energy that they're delivering here. Now, it is a game of 2 halves. There's no 2 ways about it, but really, it should not be 3-0 up for CAG right now.
Absolutely. There's no two ways around it. These rounds were won by basically CAG's skin of their teeth, but honestly, they were just in the right place at the right time. You can't really analyze it much more than that. Yes, you can get into the nitty-gritty of every single moment of where somebody was, but they just hit it when it matters. Now, what's surprising is that Maestro has been picked up here, and with the full auto shotgun, Maestro you don't really get to see much of nowadays, but these Evil Eyes are being targeted, right? You're bringing in the Brava. This is very good from GK. They spotted what the setup was on the other side. They bring it, you hack the first Maestro camera, and then you destroy it. And once more, GK take the lead, and this time with 2 kills to open up the round. Still, there's 2 Nitro Cells left and a couple impacts for CAG.
I mean, it's still not done. There's obviously questions for why CAG decided to go to this site more than anything else at this point, but hey, let's see if they can try and bring it together. They are not taking any chances. The roll of multiple impacts. The catch doesn't quite get anything led through. The claw is caught and the emergency exit is open. This was one of those sites where we saw them approach earlier on and they looked like they had a bit of an upper hand, but then, oh no, the wheels have fallen off the train. We've lost the kit, we've lost the approach. They still had the pulse underneath. I'm hoping that is a lesson that has been learned here. Cyrenaico, he's having a flirt with danger, and he's not quite able to get it. It was a risk you had to sort of take in that situation. If he could have turned it into a 3 versus 4, it's a very different story. Fortunately now, it is truly just the 1 versus 5, and at this point, there's no way of it being dropped. GK find their first round on what is the biggest offside of this map, but they need to try and get this second one.
Yeah, and that was the biggest issue earlier for GK, is that ability of doing really anything on the attack, right? Here, you got a bit more coordination, and you got 2 kills at the right time. Obviously, we couldn't quite tell if those were facilitated by any sort of drones that were giving that intel, or if it was just proper timing. Not really sure in this case. Regardless, GK get the entrance, and they get another kill on top of it, and then capitalize as they kept on rolling through the map. And as you said, I mean, it is the offest of sites on Consulate. However, a round win is still a round win. If we look back at GK playing Liquid on this site, things played out quite differently than what we got here so far in this game. But is there any adaptation, any change? Nothing really from the CAG side. They're bringing Warden into this just because they have gone to a different site. They need to hold on the top floor and play around in piano. So it's understandable that they need something to deal with flashes, despite being, of course, being banned. But they're going to have to go through the Grim. Is there a shield in play? No, there is not. CAG are going to swap that slight bit out.
After the series that we had earlier as well from the side of GK, the only player that came out, I believe, on the positive side was Neskin. And yeah, it's great to have your sort of superstar pickup that's delivering the new era of what your team is hitting in some of your big games, but on the other side of that, it gives you a bit of a positive spin when you look at how they're performing a little bit. Now, when they're able to get Blaz, starting to get themselves in, Tricked as well, getting themselves some connection with the kills and with the firefights, it's leading into a little bit more of a positive strip on the opposite side. Again, so far, a lot of the rounds that CAG have been able to take have been these sort of clutch outs, have been these sort of builds. They haven't built themselves what is a continued and sort of cemented gun game at this point. A minute ticked on by, and at this point, it's Consulate. It's a slow approach, especially towards the top floor.
Cyrenaico is watching and waiting. He's looking for a kill that is absolutely unexpected. Talk about lurking. Oh, a lot of damage done to x.ke. But the Grim survives to shout another day, I guess, here. But will he be able to exit this position? Blaz is hunting, but of course you have to cross through the site pretty much to deal with it. And GK have kind of abandoned that take to the top floor, which I'm not sure if it's the right decision because we're halfway into the round. There isn't much pressure to be set on the site.
You have to take the top.
Yeah.
If you're attacking towards piano and you do not have top control, this will happen. You will be executed as soon as you start to make your way through. You can try a mad dash, but there's only really 2 places on the entirety that aren't immediately watched. And yeah, you can hope that they're not paying attention, but truly, in a 5 versus 5, you cannot rest your sort of, chips on that idea that that is our push. That is our hope. Neskin finds the first. Sharif is gone. Bit of pressure done towards the back, and there's almost a fight that really should have been Anaton's, but Blaz did great to both survive and somehow get a couple of shots off on towards the back end. However, it's still time. It's still forcing GK out of the position to play it. Neskin, he's desperately trying to get a step in, but nothing is being taken or handed.
There's no control whatsoever on that top floor, and still undecided. There's 40 seconds left. We're taking from the other side. You're just delaying the inevitable here, GK. And Serenico is just going to survive as long as possible. Yes, the drone is out. Yes, he can stay in this spot for just a moment more. He's got no nitro. He loses the gunfight to Seriously, but you've yet to get into sight with 20 seconds left.
Well, the kid's going to try and make it, and this breach will happen just in time. But again, Blackray, he's still locked inside. There's Neskin being down from the vertical. Now they've lost that control. Jibasu's able to get Neskin on the back end, with Anaton finding Blaz, finally finishing the fight they started a minute ago. And here, what do? You're trying to throw your sight into a firmly watched pot at this point, but it's never going to boil. You've got to try and make it. And an easy pickup from the back of a mirror window. Too little, too late. Not their round to take. 4-1. Cyclops find themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely demolished. No two ways around it. CAG are just running circles around GK, and again, I do not want to sound like a broken record, but it is clear what the issue here as we see the GK timeout coming out to discuss things. Their coach Hellraiser is in the back trying to help them out here, get them back into tip-top shape. And just because there's not been much movement, like, okay, guys, come on. We're taking middle floor. We're trying to push into piano. Let's go up to the top floor and take control of console. If we do not have console, then it doesn't matter what we do when we get onto site, because they're just going to kill us from above anyways. So it seems like you're trying to look at from kind of the opposite end of things. You're not really looking down onto the map with a clear battle plan. You're just kind of making it up as you go. At least how I'm seeing it in the attack. And I know I'm being harsh on meta. These are the boys from my own region, right? But it has to be said that this is a major issue that is quite visible. They're going to have one more round to kind of work around with it. But you need that second round from the attacking side, right? You can't just rely on constant defense round after the other in the second half.
Yeah, exactly. They know how they need to set themselves up as well. They know how they can try and lock in. You have to throw your mind back towards them able to get 4 of their defenses against the approach of Liquid earlier. Liquid, they massively struggled in that opening half. GK can play a decent defense, but as you said, you need to have a little bit more. You have to have more of a prepared idea of what you're going to do on the other side of it, and how you're going to get yourself delivered into the fight. And will this timeout be the one that acts as a difference?
That is the big question that we have to figure out in this matchup. And it's on GK to bring the solution. No two ways around it on defense. All you got to do is sit back, and what does Shurip do? He brings the Caveira just in case. You want to get into your opponent's heads? Well, CAG have already been doing that because they've been looking out of every single window, every single door at the start of a round for a kill, including the front door itself with the desk behind it. And this time, if the Cav is able to down someone, or God forbid an interrogation, that'll definitely put GK on the back foot. Though it seems like our site here in basement is a bit safer against these sorts of opportunities. However, much like every other site on Consulate, you need a vertical control, which means piano has to be part of your battle plan, but also console. It's an extra layer that Shurip can use to lurk and sit on the edges of this map just to capitalize on a kill if it were to come close to him. That's pretty much it. But we'll see. Drones are in. A potential call to come in to maybe get some intel on Shuri, but so far it's looking like GK have no clue where he's hiding.
I mean, Shurip has been a nightmare player for a lot of teams. Multiple times he's been able to sort of get himself into these little clutch situations, and as the sort of pickup, it was the conversations of what Shurip and Cyrenaico, this sort of new idea of Cyclops and modern Cyclops, going to be able to deliver in towards this push, and multiple rounds is the answer. Can it be a fight in towards the live stage? Still, a lot of time ticking away. They have uncontested vertical, I say. as the first kill comes out. But that was flat as a fire against the emergency exit. Shuriep. Is this going to come together? There's the down! Oh, I get to do it! Interrogation! No! Team killed! Oh, you tease! Neskin kills the teammate, stops the interrogate, and to be fair enough. But at that point, I'm just sort of mad I didn't get to do the full thread.
So close, yet so far. You know what? That is what you get. You don't want your teammate to get interrogated. And I guess in that situation, Neskin was trying to get the kill on the Cav as they were coming in. But hey, it has the added benefit. Blaz is watching and waiting. Should be able to get the kill. There it is. Shuri taken away, but still advantage of manpower for CAG. And the rest of the team is just stuck sitting in the back here. CAG do not have to engage whatsoever with GK. They might not have any nitro cells, but there's still extra utility that they can use. There it is from Blackray. Use the final gas canister. Push in, it's gonna come. Chibisu firing off a couple rounds downrange, not finding anyone as GK have already made it down into the site. The Yokai drone is set up. It'll fire off once. It should be spotted here, but there's no reaction to it. 2 seconds left on the clock. GK do something. No! Can't deny off the intel. There was nothing that GK could do in that spot. You walk out and try to support your planter. Well, it doesn't matter. You're going to get shot from the other end of the hallway. And if you don't, well, you're going to lose the round, which is exactly what happened. Low on time, low on manpower. GK, not a good half. 5-1 for CAG. My God, the Japanese team is rolling away with it.
They did exactly as well as they did on their half earlier against Liquid.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, they lost that game. This is where they can try and make a difference because they were able, as I said before, to cement themselves for defensive rounds. They can start getting a bit of distance here, but as soon as CAG win that first, the atmosphere changes, the recipe changes, the taste and the thickness of danger in the air changes. And you find yourself staring down the barrel of losing your map pick and heading into Chalet. Now, this is a good map for GK, but it's a map that bleeds and loves aggression.
Absolutely.
And that is confidence-driven.
Yeah, I mean, if you're already seeing that sort of aggression and flexibility from CAG on Consulate, I dread Chalet in this case. But GK are on defense. They're bringing the Clash to try to sync things up. They also have a Legion, expecting maybe a shield on the other side. And if not, I think you can always flex and kind of bring a Legion. This is not coming from someone who is biased or technically could be called a Legion one trick, but that's just how it is. We've got Blaz again on the Goyo, and I loved seeing Blaz on the Goyo, honestly, not just with the setups, but his control of the vector, the way he's getting kills. But what do you get here? A nitro cell that goes off as a dud, and at least the balcony opened up for the top floor console attack for Cyclops.
Bomb diffuser has been dropped.
I'm curious to see when the first engagement might get itself together, because before, when we were here and they were successful in the defense, it was the first half of the first game of their day, and GK were more than happy. Missed moment there, Anaton. And the missed moment when he went back. More than happy to try and get themselves into engagements quite early and aggressively. It seems the same, but Shuri, round on the corner, forcing the push of this player further and further away. They're sort of utilizing the grenades to get themselves a bit of space here. The fight on admin is still dangerously towards the Blackray. Like, the territory is not being given up for free, but it is being given up. Shuri finally finds the kill. The Clash being forced further and further back, instantly in towards the site itself. They actually drop the shield and swing with the gun. Great little idea, but it's inside the site, 3 versus 2. Cyreneko gets control of the back end. They're going to see if they can secure the plant, held off by bees and other bits. Chibisu's out the window, but it's a little too late, and it's a post plant. You're up against the Clash. This can be great support for Blaz. They can just get themselves over the block on the window, and that's why Cyreneko is looking for this fight. But the fight is actually a run out and almost punished and caught, and Blaz does get Anaton. Seriously, he's on the kit. He's going to hold on to it a little bit too late. Baits the audio, baits the push. No! No. Not like this. He's out the window. Blaz.
He's got time.
He's got to hold on. He's going up on the rappel. He's trying to waste it. There's the motion. There's the spray. And Cyreneko stands up and screams. I said the atmosphere changes when the first round is won. That was the first round.
can I go? At this point, I'm out of words. We are witnessing CAG with reactions, with a game plan, with a strategy, with an execution. Every single bit of it is lining up perfectly, and even when GK have a response ready for it, something happens. Something or someone or whatever it may be is holding their hand above CAG today and in this very specific game. Because what do you say to that? How do you respond to that? GK on the other side looking very quiet. They were looking to go to defense and maybe find some sort of opening there, but it looks like Consulate is just not the way to play when you're GK. And CAG are just running away with it. I wouldn't be surprised if it ended right then and there. It's 7-1, but GK have to get that energy back up. They have used their timeout earlier, so they cannot pull it up once more. You only get one per game for those who were not sure. I'm not sure if Blaz here is going to be doing anything special, anything cheeky, as they call it. This has been the case for quite a while. Here, lining up a nitro cell up. Might find somebody through. No, there's nobody on the skylight yet, my friend. A blind nitro cell does not net to anyone. Maybe could have waited a slight bit more, but so far, GK look like they're trying to react to something that doesn't exist. Bit nervous.
You would be. They are almost away on their own map. Now, we've seen teams win map 7-0 and still lose the series and still go home. Earlier today, we have seen that. Just so far from over, but Black Ray trying to find this early engagement against Blaz, and Blaz, he's able to just hold himself a bit firm here on the top floor, lock out the fight and pull himself away. Most importantly, he doesn't want to suddenly find himself the victim of a second Japanese player, putting the pressure on here, and it forces them to have to sit and wait. They should be able to get the call in the reveal at some point, but it slows the team. It slows the approach down pretty heavily here as they just sort of try and thread themselves and get some control over the stair sets.
So, Zereneko, what can he find here at the top of yellow? A drone being thrown on in just to gather some sort of intel. Of course, Black Ray has been lost, so we'll probably see them watching any of those flank drones in this case. x.ke has been flashed, but they're just standing in place as the Lion and the Dokkaebi actually hit at the same time with the call on the E1D. Anaton is able to rotate all the way around here to support Zereneko into the push, but Chibisu is the only person on the vertical in this case, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he is. Trying to find an opening. He can, of course, go for the headhunter mode and use that revolver to find a kill off of it. Of course, getting the pings, AK in hand, but nothing is being given. No quarter whatsoever. GK are holding on to the back of the site and do not want to get out of it.
There's the pulse, there's the pull, but nobody's been caught by the end of it. The fishing hasn't netted a result, and with 30 seconds, we'll start to see exactly just how important some of these positions to be played are, because at this point, they're just watching through holes and angles and trying to find a single bite onto a fight. Where is the push going to be forced from? Where's the kit going to get itself sent into?
Still surprising that it went all the way around for it, but a smoke is going to slow things down for just a moment. Another flash around the side. Can CAG actually put into it? No, Drix takes down Shuri, and Neskin is looking for another here, tapping around. You got 6 seconds to play around with. Be careful!
No!
It's on Florida for CAG, who are about to run away with it.
I cannot believe this has fallen away from them. I was sat down, ready and taking notes, but the only notes taken are probably, let's not do Consulate again. A 3 versus 1 with a Deimos tracking you, saying loudly, he's down here, kill the Deimos, fine. 30 seconds, a sliver of health for them to hold on to the hope of their own map at this point. They have themselves tucked, they have themselves sent, and we have a 7-1 demolishing by Cyclops on GK's map.
I am once more at a loss for words. CAG absolutely well deserved this entire map. Like, this was impressive the way that everything was timed, was played, was set up. I cannot say anything that would make CAG look bad or shaky in any way, shape, or form. Every time they were down, they always got back up, no matter what GK did, no matter what advantage GK did, it did not matter. Attack, defense, they just had control of it. CAG, impressive performance. And honestly, this is the CAG that we expect to see when they're on it. Look at that energy. Look at how they're jumping around. They're having fun, and they've done it since round number 1. It's infectious.
Sure. But
Yeah.
there are just rounds there that shouldn't have gone away. And that's the sort of moral of the story here. We said it after 2-3 rounds. The opening of the game, remember how it was. It was 2-2vx clutches that sort of came through technically. And you're finding yourselves on the end of that, a 7-1. As I said, Chalet, our next map, is a confidence map. Nothing fills you more with confidence than when you're against the odds and you still smash it. A huge game from CAG. But you look at the stats and, okay, yeah, a bit of a struggle from some of the players. There's nothing too far away. There's nothing too 7-1 about GK's statistics.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a smash in the way that you imagine, where like 7-1 and there's barely any kills on the other side. No, it was back and forth within the same round, and yet, however, whenever GK tried to put that first foot down, right, and try to hold on to something, they would just end up losing it because CAG are reacting to them in the moment. It is back and forth in that way, where it's like a Tom and Jerry game. Right, there's one thing that goes in for GK, one thing that goes right, they might get an entry kill or something off of it, but they cannot follow up. They cannot get that position that they require, be it soda, being the hallway, desk, whatever it may be, and somehow, out of nowhere, CAG are in the right spot to capitalize. And yes, you call it a fluke after 1 or 2 rounds, but you cannot call it that when it's 7 rounds. Yes, mistakes from GK, but with 7-1, that's just CAG outplaying you every time you think, and you're slightly confident of taking the round. CAG are immediately back into it.
Where are we? Back into a break before we're back with map 2. welcome back. We find ourselves hurtling maybe towards the third team being sent away, sadly, from Manchester. GK have just lost their map, Consulate. They're going to see if they can try and steal CAG's back on Chalet.
It's me with the back, stealing it away. I don't know. I'm not that great at it, I'll tell you what.
You were good.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. However, you know who was not good on map 1? Is Geekay. We're going to have to look into that and really learn from those lessons real quick, because honestly, Chalet is looking daunting if CAG play the way that they did on Consulate. They were jumping out of doors, going out of windows, but not that often. It was mostly good control and recovery. Yes, GK get an entry here or there. They stopped doing those later on, by the way. But then immediately CAG is waiting for them. They're either behind them, they're either above them. GK were not taking any vertical control whatsoever, and that bites you. You cannot go just to one singular angle.
It was rough. There's no sort of two ways about it there. We saw the mistakes that they were making earlier. Obviously, as we said, there was a bit of downtime. CAG, they've been able to sort of play off the back of the old series, get themselves into this one. They've kept that ferocity of fighting for your life that's a bit necessary, let's be honest. And here they are, still fighting for their life. They're trying to put the pressure on it, and just the quicker this series could be, the less time GK have to warm up to get themselves in a position to fight back. And Chalet is a map where if you don't hit it hot, if you don't hit it warm, you're just going to get frozen out.
Absolutely. You really have to get into it, hit the ground running. As they say, there's no, we're just not really feeling this round, or there's no complacency on Chalet. It will bite you real fast. And there's a big question here, whether CAG can close it out on their map pick Chalet, or will it be a map 3 going into Cafe Dostoyevsky? That'll all be on GK right now. The onus is on them. It seems like GK are starting off on the defense. Now, defense on this map is different than others, right? There's meta game, meta this, meta that. That's not what we're gonna dive into, at least on the outside before we get into the match. But CAG have the opportunity to lock down long angles. They have DMRs that they can play. Dokebe, they got Lion they can also employ.
He can be employed?
He can definitely be employed. You also have a Ram that is a great operator to bring in here if you're attacking top down. You got so many good options. That's not even exploring the shields that you have. So I'm wondering, could GK ban all of the operators? All of them. Just so
I don't know if that would work.
Look, I'm not part of league operations, but I'll tell you, maybe we should explore that one day. Though, GK will be the first to ban an op, and here it will be for the attack. They take away the Blitz. All right. It's either the Blitz or the Monty. You know what? Shield abuse, something CAG are quite good at. So what is CAG's response? Will it be a Grim ban? Again, great operator to take away from here. It'll be more on the Dokebe side. We're going to get a Ying ban from CAG themselves.
Yeah, it just makes sense. I think if Ying's on the board, regardless of the teams, there's only very specific teams that go, I am entirely happy with Ying being on the board. And when you're doing that on Chalet, it is just turned up to 11.
Yeah. No surprise on the Azami.
Yeah, again, Azami, as I said it before, those two in the middle, they're your statistically highest and most likely to be just thrown out. And then it's usually a shield and a follow-through. Valk on Chalet, information is oppressive in this game, and so is she. Those cameras can be tucked into pretty much every single nook and cranny on this map. All those beams, those plant pots are just devastating for control. And, well, just get rid of her, get her removed. Master bedroom and office. We will start ourselves on the top floor here, and we will see how quickly the CAG machine whirs up, and if GK have a way to stop it.
Yeah, that is the question. How do you top on bedroom? Well, you bring a Monty in this case. Seems like the solution for Cyclops Athlete Gaming. Now, GK has the opportunity to set up properly. There's flashes on the other end that you're going to have to deal with, but no Ying. Warden is pretty much always a good pick. You bring in a shield to allow Blaz to play around this top floor, and is actually going to set up the shield more towards the window in the hallway, and actually right close to Piano. You have a lot of opportunity here to kind of spread things out, just because outside of a couple windows, there's not a lot to fear when you're rotating between this library area all the way back to bedroom.
A full swap. in terms of how they're doing the approach has come through. Instead of the Monty, instead of any of that, they're bringing the Glads. Going to see if they can try and drive themselves in. Nomad, Lover, love to see her utilised on a map like this, especially. You can really limit the approach. The opponent outdoors is just setting themselves up. That external barbed wire, they're pretty safe to do it. They get themselves the FNAP mine for anyone that tries to swing around the corner as well. You put the oppression on towards the balcony and just make sure that nobody can get themselves a quick and easy entrance. There's a quick and easy exit. Shibusu, not entirely sure if he knew exactly where that player was, but x.ke, well, now they know where he was.
You expect always somebody here in this solarium area, so it's really kind of, I guess, on x.ke in this spot. Why is Amira in that spot, right, is the question. But Blaz will escape and then immediately get taken out by the Glaza Shurip, but seriously was able to take down Black Ray just before this happened. Shurip inching closer and closer, trying to find somebody through a piano or even in the hallway, but everybody's kind of running away.
Oh, the plants!
Tibius is going for it, and Trix is just not having any of it. And guess who's on the rappel where it's not the Glaz? The Glaz is quite far away and actually now 6 feet under Emmy.
Yeah, just caught out there. They went to try and get the pocket plant there. The window player didn't really move to try and get the trade out. Anadon was hoping for a gift, but now, with a minute 40, they at least have a lot of time. They're hoping a mistake is made. Here's maybe the burst, and they're able to capitalize on it. 2 versus 2 is a very different situation, but the rotate round on the back has been called. Is he going to be able to get this fight out? Sireneko aims a little bit too low at first, and seriously gets the cement. Anaton has sat here since the start of the round, hoping for one mistake to come through. And that is for Fenrir to go on a little adventure and find himself on the wrong side of the gun, but they are fully aware. There's the statement. We're watching. We know. We're not going to give it to you. You have a minute here, Anaton, to try and piece together a retake. Now, we said it last time. Don't.
No, what?
Why?
No.
Seriously, no. We said it before, and I don't want to have to say it again. Stop handing these advantages, these fights, these rounds. I'm not going to say they're locked in, but it's 50 seconds. You have full sight control, and the player is underneath without the kit, really trying to piece things together.
What is it Trix even do in this spot, right? Now you hear that there's a bullet fired on the other side. You try to engage a long-range fight with the ARX? Are you crazy, my man?
Anaton's trying to get himself close towards the kit. They've gone for the rotate round on the back end. Now he's pulled himself as far away as possible. He's hoping to put some of this advantage. The longer time ticks. There's not a lot of bullets in that gun, but it's the spray of Trix. He was pinpoint with it last time the kit was being planted. He's baiting the audio. Very clever. Throws himself further out because he doesn't want the swing to come in close. He still has to be within range of the fight, but not that close to it, and almost! So much closer than it should have been, but it's yours. Stop doing this.
Stop peeking. Honestly, Trix there at the end could have lost the round. Be careful. You won it. You won the first one. But goddamn, could you have not made it any closer than that? Down to a 1v1 to 50 seconds left. It's a lot of time for recovery for CAG in that 1v1. And at that point, you don't really have to care much about the diffuser. Have a lot of time to maneuver around. Now, biggest issue for CAG is that the player on the rappel outside the main window in that spot, Black Ray, is not really doing much in terms of blocking the defenders from rotating from bathroom and then out into piano, and that's where they were able to, that's where GK locked things down and did not get the Glaz really to show up much. Got 1 kill out of it. Much.
Well, the Glaz got caught on the back end of piano. It was Anaton that was on the double window that wasn't quite aiming to respond. He hoped they didn't know he was there. Anaton, I'm a level with you. If the double window is open, people are going to assume someone is there.
Yeah.
That's just how that position is played, especially when they're going for the plant where they were. To try that without a player in the position is, well, just handing the round over. There's a full approach that should get read, at least some of it, by Blaz. He's hoping he can get gifted a fight elsewhere. It's not being offered towards him. The hold all the way to the top on a basement, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You have to do stuff to bring their attention over, and the damage onto the wall isn't going to quite come through. But the exothermic, there's the pop, there's the Kaid. Not quite able to get the catch, but he does pick up the claw and get it back and probably rotate towards either the hatch, one connector, or red.
Wondering here if there'll be a reaction to get into just the fireplace and do something about it, but no, x.ke will get a kill on a Saronico and then immediately doubles back up to check if somebody's walked in. This would be a perfect spot for CAG to have a ram or something to destroy the floorboards, but blackray is the designated player for this game plan. Blaz, in the meantime, is just looking for a kill through the garage entryway and just falls back and is checking for those back stairs. Somebody from CAG is looking to enter into them, but the Buck is just too far away to do much here.
First time CAG have been on the back foot for a very, very long time in terms of the round count and in terms of just how the round has started formulating. They've usually, I'm not going to say always been on the top of the KD game or on top of the entry game, but it's very often either late or they have a reaction quite early. Chibisu, they're just peeking him all the way from the back of the site, and there's a second. Absolutely surgical out the back end there with the SMG. 2 cheeky picks and kills, and well, it's because no pressure's coming from elsewhere. blackray just sends himself down the stairs, gets seriously a bit of a gift, but at this point, what can you do with it?
There's no need for soft destruction when you got a few bullets to send down range, and blackray narrowly avoids Nitro Cell there, staying alive, good control, but GK still with man advantage on site with 50 seconds left.
They're trying to get themselves any pressure here on the back. They just want to see if they can smoke and tuck and hope the cover from above and from the back end of the snowmobile stairs is enough, but this player that can swing and put the pressure, he's the danger man, and the Buck might get caught out by them. Trix, who was obviously the man of the previous round, sitting, waiting, because that 30 seconds, as it did in the previous round, the closer it gets, the more dangerous we get. We've actually got a bit of the double stack, the pressure that just tucked in on the inside. He can't entirely watch it. There's 1 and 2. Shuri've got a grenade kill in blue at the same time. The cover over the top, and once again, CAG have popped the top of the bottle off and celebrated all over the site, and it's just an execute on the back. And that is such a great example of taking the space and making it work for you.
I'm out of words. I'm actually stunned at this point with how effective they have been on their attack. The fact that the Buck was quite far away, right, up on the library, then within 10 seconds finishes the job, goes all the way back down to fireplace, gets the job done through it, actually walks into garage through the stairs, gets a kill, walks back up, puts pressure on the defenders down below.
On seriously reinforcing as well.
Yeah.
Reinforcing in the middle of the site, and he's like, oh yeah, there's a kill.
That's sort of...
That's siege
that
timing.
bravery, but still, it requires a lot of bravery.
Oh, yeah.
For CAG to just walk in and trust in themselves, and that's what we talked about in Map 1 and CAG overall. We've been talking about CAG for years, Emmy, and the record has been always the same. If CAG are feeling it, they will get aggressive. They will push in spaces where it doesn't really make sense for someone to do it, but timing is everything. And they've been nailing every single moment. Every single moment is really what they're running away with here, but we're still at a 1-to-1, right? Let's cool it down for a moment.
Yeah.
Get back into round number 3 as the defense has shifted on to a more common defense.
It's just the they can't keep getting away with this.
Absolutely.
Meme slammed down on the table. That's what needs to be done at this point, really. And you know, you've got a very standard hold, a more default approach here. As you said, they've brought things back down towards the bar. They're not going to double down on garage. They don't think it can work, even though it started so well for them. They are going to keep the rotates round. They're going to sort of play like, yeah, we won that round. We can go back there. If worst case, we have to win this site anyway.
Yeah.
We might still be able to make our plan A here work. And if you're unfamiliar, it's wresting control of the vertical. Now, Anaton can try and drive this up. Often you'll just have blackray, tuck a bit of breach onto that wall there. It makes the prep position not unplayable, but unless you're countering it from above, which it doesn't look like they're ready to, this should go round. Blaz drops. He's able to get the execute onto 1. How quick are they to react? They pull themselves back. They're swinging into the fight, and he wins it out, but there's a second, and he can't quite get the connection of 3 versus 4. Great pinch, great bit of pressure, and not a CAG player to cover the back end. Shuri maybe didn't need to send himself into that, but I don't think he realized just how much attention was being paid.
It's beautiful timing, every single moment there from GK falling into place. They realized the breach was going on. The perfect reaction from Blast to drop down the hatch and play around it. But it's now a round and round we go as Chibisu has gone all the way around into this wine cellar. And it's checking garage. Is there somebody still there? CAG don't really know what to do in a 4v2 spot. They'll try to find a pick or two before finding a full dedication onto site with a minute left.
Trix happy to play that position for now, and they're going to go for the pinch on him, but obviously with the wall open, it's actually more dangerous than it was. The secondary gets the down onto one. They pre-fire for the next. There's a player coming down blue, and they're aware of it. It was pinged. It was called. They have the yellow. If they can get the fight on this, well, they're not going to, but they do a little bit of damage to Neskin. 40 seconds. Now, with this being open, they have to vacate the spot and not play it anywhere like they would like to. But because the attention was drawn to here, none of the other busy work has really been done. If they can get x.ke, if they can remove this single player and get some of the Bs to reveal the position, which is the pop, then they might be able to get the pinch. There's the cross, though. And he was well aware of the game. They find their second round.
Good play again, GK rotating round and round. And the drop from Blaz might have been that linchpin in the round to finally come in, get a kill,
rotation was 2018, I think it was.
What was it?
OGA Pit.
2018?
Minor.
There were still
18, 19.
online?
There was
yeah,
two.
19. Yeah, there you go.
There was no.
There was like end of
it
18
was online.
and into 19.
They did an online season.
Yeah, I know.
And
Two
then the
seasons.
second one.
2 seasons.
Second one had it in a LAN though. Second one had the LAN in Split, Croatia.
No, that was a qualification on its own to get to it because that was
Yeah, but
the
it was
OGA
still a
Split
LAN.
minor.
It was still a LAN.
Yes, but it wasn't part of the actual because they have 2 seasons online.
We find ourselves here.
Fighting one another.
I am being mansplained to by Milos.
I'm sorry. I was there.
You weren't in Croatia.
I did a whole video about it. 2.5 hours.
Wow. Was it good?
Wow. I see.
I just got a message,
Yeah.
and I think this is revenge from earlier.
From whom?
From one of the referees, the admins, that says, frankly, I'm enjoying the x.ke podcast.
What?
They're not enjoying ours?
Honestly,
Can I go over and have a go at the x.ke podcast? Do I have
I am the
permission?
problem here.
I want to go fight them.
That
With my
would be
fists.
That'd be a hell of a podcast.
I
if you ask
am
me.
wearing a necklace that has a little tiny sword on it.
Do not stab anybody
I'm going to
with a
message
plastic
them
sword.
back. Hey, meanie, what about ours? I did a radio voice.
Who said that?
I'm not going to dox them.
Yeah, we are in a
'Cause-
tech issue
'cause-
for those that haven't really figured it out.
Yeah.
But yes, so everything here has been impacted. That includes Stream 1
The
and
match is
B.
fine.
However, yes, the game is fine. And that includes both games on both A and B streams.
Can you just, fill for, 30 seconds?
Sure.
I'm going to go fight them.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. Well, as Emmy goes over to fighting, I don't know if you'll even be able to see this, but I'll be hearing a lot of screams. Now, you might think that Emmy is not much of a fighter, but if you don't know her well, she has many ways of doing things her way. Now, flucking shoes or other kinds of stuff are options in this case, but who knows what Emmy will go up to as we have wrangled. Security is here. 20 people are restraining Emmy to not have her
I killed
fight.
them! I fought them in the face. No, they're not. They beat me up. Ollie's 20 feet tall.
That's true.
I entirely bit off more than I could chew.
Oh, the humanity.
Oh, the humanity! I'm Ollie from Manchester, I think.
No.
He
He is from Manchester.
I like casting with Ollie because he's very tall and I'm allowed to wear heels.
Oh, so you're saying you don't like to cast with me? Is that
Because
what
I
you're saying?
can't wear heels unless you also wear heels.
I would love to. I would look great in heels. Are you kidding me?
There are videos
Of me in heels. No, of Parker in heels.
of a couple of members of talent
I just put it out
wearing
there.
heels in Sao Paulo, the thigh-high boots that I wore. There are videos of them walking around that I recorded to send to their loved ones on Valentine's Day.
And yet you still refused to give me a shot.
I didn't refuse to give you a shot.
Yes, you did. I did ask. And you even had the 2B outfit for Yana later. And I
The
just have to
2B
put it-
outfit,
I'm sorry,
yes.
I'm sorry, chat. I have to put it out there. You could have seen me in a 2B outfit, like the actual Yana set with
Yeah.
2B from Near Automata. But you didn't get that because Emmy did not allow me to wear the dress.
Do you want to know why?
For many reasons,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
because I couldn't fit into that dress. It was ludicrous.
What are you trying to say?
You're muscled. I'm not. I'm frail and weak and pathetic.
Remember when you try to outlift one another in Brazil?
Yeah, I couldn't lift the weight that you physically were just lifting. And I'm like, I suck. I don't have muscle. It's gone. It disappeared. Fell.
Well, just a reminder for everybody, we are still in the middle of tech issues that are impacting both streams A and B. However, the games are going well and strong. I'm just keeping that in mind for everybody. We're just kind of talking about it. We can't really see the chat, so I wish we could
I have
engage.
no idea if people can still hear us at this point.
I don't know. We're just... To be honest, we do talk without even realizing that there are people in there. Just spend a minute with us in the green room and you'll see how it is.
Oh, I got the response. I said he's a meanie. Didn't realize you were casting as well. I only have a stream in my ears. That's just sort of problematic.
I mean, do we go into a break or do we just keep chatting about something?
I don't even know if people can hear us. Do we have...
Yeah,
Apparently we're
we are
still live. All right.
That's cool.
I'm fine.
Hi, Mom.
I feel like let's keep going for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we can maybe, I don't know if we have results. The producer of A Stream, Tommy, who you might have seen in some content, has just come up to us and shrugged. So I'm told that we are still live.
Yeah.
And he is, so I don't know what to believe, but I'm losing it. Hello, and welcome to the Rainbow Six Siege radio show. You find us here, hurtling towards the end. We were told to have fun, so we're going to have what is called a whale of a time.
Indeed. And if I were a bit more refined, you would hear me with an English accent.
Can you do an English accent?
No, absolutely not. Do you want everybody to hate me? We're in the UK. I can't do that.
Okay, I have been given a message. We can hear you silly. So...
We are silly geese.
Silly geese.
Indeed. Well...
well, hopefully, I don't know if the game... I can... Wow!
Thanks, chat.
Thanks, chat.
Thanks.
I don't know if the
let me
game...
open chat.
I don't know if the game is still going. Yeah,
Wait,
chat, if you
what-
have... The match has been paused. Chat, if you have any questions for the
Now's the
Bravo
time.
stream, Milosh, Mr. Losh himself, is going to answer. If you have questions for Ace and Ollie, who are currently sitting on their laurels, I will shout them over the wall. And I don't know if they'll answer, but I will at least shout them for you. Hello, and welcome to the Rainbow Six Siege radio broadcast.
To
The
be honest,
game is currently paused. We paused. We pause, we schmoove, we find ourselves getting closer and closer. Now,
Yeah.
obviously...
closer and closer to a tech pause, which is exactly what we need to do at this point.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's been a pleasure listening to your good
I
voice
give up.
and my annoying one. We're going to take a quick break, and hopefully when we're back, everything will be resolved.
Thank
Don't you worry. Don't you worry, my children. All will be well. See you in a
Thank you,
bit.
everyone. I love you. Thank you very much, everyone, for bearing with us. Unfortunately, there was obviously a tech issue that affected the entire venue. That's why both streams were hit. These things happen. They are outside of our control. But we are back. Thank you so much for bearing with us. We can confirm that the game itself was not affected. The players playing on LAN could keep playing. They played through one round, and it went into the side of CAG to bring us 2 apiece on Chalet.
Yeah, and there is a timeout running currently for GK, which is what we can see on our screens. Of course, during all of this with tech issues, players are not able to communicate about strategy. So that's one thing that we have to keep in mind. It's not like there was an extended timeout or anything. But hey, like Emmy said, thank you so much for holding on with us. We love you so much for kind of experiencing it with us at the same time. But 5 minutes, whatever. We'll put it beside. We go directly into game. GK still with 20 seconds left on their timeout, chatting about and seeing what they could do. Unfortunately, we're not really clear on what happened in the round prior before we got to the 2-2 level, but it seems like it was one round full on kills, then one objective round, and another one on kills for the defense of GK, and then CAG once more with their I guess, an objective-based victory, at least if we're looking at the scoreboard. Though I digress, it is a new day and a new moment on our server with GK still on the defense. Reminder, Chalet is our second map in this series, and so far it is CAG that leads 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously, as you said, you've pulled to the idea that there was a plant, there was something that GK wanted to talk about, because 2 attacks going against them. We talked about momentum being built. Well, that was a breakup. Now, during that, because it was technically a tech problem, the players would not have been able to talk to each other, which is why GK tried to follow it round. But it's still a moment to breathe. Get yourself back in, try and reset, and importantly, get a little bit cold for the side of CAG potentially here instead of the GK approach. Now, has it been a lesson learned? What was the breakup? We're just going to have to sort of piece it together, unfortunately, until we get in towards more of a sort of visceral look. Not even the unfortunate stat counting of Ubisoft's site to tell us what site it was. We can just sort of reverse engineer it a bit later.
That's why we're calling it a new round, a new moment here for both of our teams. Still, GK on the defense, looking for at least a 3-3 at the half. I think they'll be quite happy with it, but it's not unusual to get a 4-2 for the attack on Chalet. However, things change in the metagame and our operator bans. You never know what you get. Though, what we know we could get regularly from a CAG is, well, shield play. And Anatune this time is bringing over the Monty, Emmy.
Yeah, bringing the Monty over, making sure that they have just a little bit more of that solid wall was what I believe they brought some of the fight in. Blaz a second and a step away from a fight, but it's picked up from underneath him. There's a bit of damage done towards Shurip, and the sound of a catch on the back end, but it's Trix looking to try and get the angle. They're lying in wait, baiting for the pressure, but it hasn't otherwise been put towards them. Seriously, on the slow approach to a shield, that is probably the most terrifying thing. We hear it de-shield. We know Anaton's on the chase. The E1D is I'm coming to find you and to kill you, and Black Ray's there to offer some support. In the meantime, x.ke gets a bit of damage done towards the top. The pressure is still being put in the side and on towards Ego Bao.
And Chibisu in the meantime opening up this reinforced wall here by the double windows, and maybe something Sereneko can do. I'm not sure if the Brava drones have been used for anything, at least to control any utility that is on the site, hack anything that is present on it, but seriously is looking for the late round flank. Reminder, this is what, 20 seconds or so ago, CAG were flanking with their own utility. Well, Black Ray went out and got a kill off of it. Now, seriously, is solo, and it's quite tough to go up and fight reverse, especially when the Monty is pushing you up the stairs. There's a Dokebi.
5 versus 3 now, but with 50 seconds, they've got to try and find a way in, and Trickster's trying to knock them right back out on the opposite end of it. We're seeing if there's a bit of an approach here, back and forth either side. That long angle from the side of Sereneko as he's trying to get the pressure on towards Ego Bao, and it's caught out. Great take, and a very important one for them to drop and for them to try and get that isolation on the fight. The Monty, he's the man of the moment. The moving mountain puts the pressure in, builds himself closer and closer in the C4, knocks them right back out. x.ke on the back end, but it's Shurip reaping rewards on the double window. The Fenrir mine might get a bit of a slow. Shurip gets a bit of a hit and a knockback, and the relay, but CAG in the chaos Steal somehow win it out entirely blinded. A huge drive, the timeout and the tech timeout haven't netted them any growth at this point.
What a round. What a round that we got there at the end, and what a way for CAG to run away with their third attack win. We go into the round number 6, the last opportunity for GK. Remember, they had just used their timeout before going into this previous round, so you got to be asking a lot of questions here. If your Armena squad are the only Armena representative in the tournament, versus CAG, Japanese team is just looking pretty, not only in the server, but even outside of it. Everybody's high-fiving, they're happy, they're smiling, they're joking. This is what's setting CAG apart, that the vibes on the team, for lack of a better term, are at an all-time high. And GK looking a bit more deflated than you'd imagine, but here it's all on GK to hold on to this top 4 because there's a moment. 3-3 at the half is doable, but GK do not want to let it slip away.
4-2. And it's a weird way of saying this. On the side of Chalet is a kind of expected half, a kind of respected as a result, but it might be too much too far for what we've seen from GK's attacks today. They've struggled to get things together, to get things cohesive. There's a little bit that's given to you extra on this map because of how thin and aggressive it can be at points, because of how you can set up choke points, something that they were able to operate with on some parts of Consulate. But again, this energy is something that CAG has thrived in. The first time a team has threaded 2 rounds in a row, and they're the ones that are wearing the crown of it.
What are counters here on the CAG side? Well, they're not bringing the Ram in this case, which, you know, it could be a good operator to swap into it, but you're bringing in the Buck, right? You have a Monty to push into it, a Brava, an incredibly common operator to run on quite a few maps, but even more so I feel on Chalet, just because of how tucked in and about all the default cams are, so you're able to snipe one here or there, but because those hard point positions rely on utility, it's easy to play through it. Black Ray will get 1 kill on Seriously, a good clear on the Legion before that utility can snowball later in the round.
Black Ray gets the first. He was a player that was a little bit slow to operate on the time that sent CAG down towards the lower bracket, and fighting every game tooth and nail for their lives. And here, each body, each kill just seems like almost a different team to the one we had in the league. Let's not forget, you know, they sort of had to bitterly fight to get into this position. They weren't a lot of people's favorite as well. When you're looking at Kinatrope, when you're looking at how other teams have been able to put the pressure onto them, and here, GK, they were a dominant force of their region. They were uncontested and unpressured, and they're struggling. Great catch, though, on towards Anaton. They sort of baited the shield in to fight onto Blaz. He was almost happy to take that fight, but instead the safe rotate out. And almost the catch on the back end. Shurip was too late as well. Very close to losing the additional player of Twixt.
Long-range DMR here on the Brava. Sireneko is clearing out this library upstairs. There's nobody around here, but you need control of it. The Shurip, in the meantime, there it is, the DMR being put to work, and the FAL takes down a Blaz on the opposite end. No more Frost to be run, and no more... well, no more of that beautiful SMG that we're going to hear throughout the round. Nitro Cell missing also as the Lion was a bit further back on the library. GK are running out of options as CAG tighten the noose.
Ooh, Chibisu swings his way around to x.ke. They're looking for some of the approach here on the fight. There's Neskin to at least slow something. A 2 versus 2 and a 2 versus 1. Neskin! What an animal he turns into on the back end there. Suddenly, of nothing, Neskin gets it all.
What? We've been waiting for this the entire game, and suddenly out of nowhere, Neskin is the one to bring it back and turn it into a 3-3 at the half. Can you believe it, Emmy?
I cannot.
No, we cannot either. Live here from Manchester.
I wasn't doing that. There's a photographer.
Yeah, our wonderful colleague and photographer Adela, who is really jamming out to the music.
Jamming out to the tunes. No, I have a tiny sword necklace. And I was threatening them.
Bomb located by attackers.
I hope you don't get to use that at any point in time. We got protection here.
Yeah.
If anything. But at the 3-3 half, that is not too shabby, I have to say here. For GK, they swap over to the attacking side, and that is the big question that we're trying to answer.
3 apiece. You know, actually, I felt a little bit bad earlier in the day.
How come?
So you saw the thing at the start of the day, I don't know where I was looking for you, right? We did a rehearsal.
True.
Things are
No,
rehearsed.
we didn't. It just happened.
Yeah, okay, it just happened.
Yeah.
When I was doing the rehearsal, some of the admins were having a lovely conversation at the end of a very long corridor, and I turned around and I shouted at full volume, which I'm not going to do, quiet on set. As a joke, as a goof, as a gaff. They legitimately jumped and apologized, and I felt so guilty. We stopped the rehearsal, I went over and apologized.
And everybody went back home. That's how we've had no cast all day. That explains it.
The fun we have.
The what?
The fun we have, and the fun
That's
we've had here. 30
absolutely true.
seconds deep. No one being caught yet, but this map is, as I said, catching roamers, catching flankers. Stop playing up for the camera, Milos.
Playing up for you. You're playing it up, and here Geekay are playing it up for everybody watching at home, and no two ways around it. Dokebi, Lion, this is pretty much an equalizer what we had, but whoa, there's Sure up on the other end, taking down Blaz, who's been quite silent throughout this map.
He was a huge factor for them on the previous map. He was a huge factor for them on Consulate, and here, just unable to really get his teeth sunk into anything at this point. Shureep, though, he's able to reap, as I said before, the rewards of these positions, the rewards of playing against the sort of build-up of space. Seriously, he's trying to dig in on, let's be honest, a 2-person job here. If he finds a fight with Sireneko, there's a swing round that'll hit him on the other side. There's nothing to force him out of this position as well. Sure, you've got bees, but what else are you going to throw at him here? What's the threat? The frag grenades, they're gone. Buck can't get himself underneath. Sireneko, if he's got a little bit of chutzpah, he will stay here.
What you'd love to have is a Capitao in this sort of position, which is definitely an incredibly common operator to run to clear out library, not just with the bolts, but at least the fire bolts, but also to isolate any players in the back with the smoke bolts. Trix is going to be able to walk on up here, but look around, there you go. Anitoon has already gotten 1 kill on a Neskin, and it's only a refrag here to make it a 3v4. GK unable to follow up on it as x.ke goes down, and it's both the Dokebi and the Twitch left alive solo, where now CAG can just maneuver around the map freely.
I mean, they still have him on the far side as well. He's still just holding a 1 versus 1 on a window, waiting for the rest of his team to clear towards him. It's a hammer and anvil take, but in a very awkward position. And, I mean, there's nothing that's forcing him out. He swings out because he wants to at that point. A 4 versus 2, and it is the first defensive half. And, you know, he opted for that fight. 30 seconds left. They finally get on the vertical, but both of them are a bullet away from death.
It's all DMRs here for the last 2 players of GK. It's going to get even tougher here as the fuser's been picked up. There's 20 seconds left, and they need to get onto site. CAG have already turned their rifles around to try to hold down any drops. And what do you have? You have the staircase, you have a hatch in library, and that's about it. It's heard here on the drop. Chibisu turns around to see if somebody's walking down the back stairs, but it's a 2K to clean it up from Black Ray. Walking up the Clyde and good control.
I mean,
Clean, no 2 ways around it, and that's a defense round. Again, we go back to the crux of the matter. GK have had frustrating attacks, and yes, the first round, but it has slipped away more often than not.
I mean, look at the choice of first sight as well, right? You're looking at what was, you know, the tertiary for their opponents of playing themselves toward bar. You're looking at what is now a chance to go down to the basement where they have a little bit more solid. It took a while to clear a singular spot.
Yeah.
That is kind of a famous clear, right? Whether you're running in Roteros, throwing in Capitao bolts, or the classic of bouncing the grenade off of the top beam into the corner to just force the motion of the player to catch them.
Absolutely.
It's a 2-person job that's been around since Chalet has been around in its form. And they couldn't get that sort of together. They hoped the push would come up the stairs. It almost worked,
yeah,
but let's be honest, it didn't.
No, I think the Twitch was just not the right choice. It's, in terms of pure operator choice, right? You don't often get to say this, but in this case, the Twitch probably was not the best choice, right? If you bring a Brava, you can deal with utility. You bring a Capitao, you can deal with hard points. Let's have more of that, please and thank you. That was not the case in Library, and it took too long to clear players out of those hard point positions. You got more of them that are downstairs in the bar too, so hey, double up on the utility would have helped a lot. But that is in the past now, as the defense has shifted on to the basement, the garage, called Snowmobile. When x.ke is trying to clear, you spot the clash on the other end of that drone hole, and there's not really much you can do about it here, of course. But there's Bandit, there's Chibisu, and he waits to try.
We'll see if they can try and pinch a player, pull him out. Obviously, it will be a steady clear across the top two, but it doesn't seem like they want to adventure themselves too far. The verticality should be pretty easy to handle. They've got everything to get the breach open as well, alongside the Ace and the Thatcher and the Thermite. They're fully sending an idea of everything will get opened.
Yeah.
But the players are being opened in the face with your gun is that tricky point, and you almost lose your star player, and you do. Cyrenaica, he gets the catch onto one. There's that game of making sure they can't escape in full swing, but as you said, you know, that's the only sort of dead positive player at this point, up until the trade came through.
Still surprising that the soft breach here that's being relied on is the Zofia, and of course the hard breach charge is brought by the Ace and the Thatcher. Not that there's anything wrong with it, it's just there are more tools currently than what I would consider an outdated lineup from Geekay. You got a Ram that could be brought in that could clear out that entire floor for you before you have to push on to Wine Cellar, but clearly it is not the attention that Geekay are putting to. They want to push directly into Wine, which means you need those ops, you need to breach the wall, and Chibisu is going to get one and seriously cannot fight back.
The roll onto the breach, but a clash can just replace this at some point. The C4 ripped and ready to rock and roll. Goodbye! x.ke knocked out. Chibisu can still play this pillar position. They've got some pressure coming around, but as I said, Anaton is such a problem factor. Shureep's got on an adventure. The two players are both down there. 50 seconds. Shureep might try and retake the control of the hatch itself at some point. That's what he's aiming towards. In fact, no, he's gone further because Chibisu's too busy killing everybody. That's another round in Cyclops' favor. That's another round further away. Most importantly, a deadlock at the half is very quickly gone to a 5-3.
Why have so much time and bring two operators with pure soft breach as their gadget, pretty much, and not use that at all? You have power positions that you can spot and see that CAG are utilizing. The entirety of the Wine Cellar is built around it that way, right? You got pillars, you got actually like wine barrels to play around with, and you have shields that are put specifically to deal with it, and yet the reaction from Geekay is, let's just not worry about it. You can't just ignore it in that case. And, you know, bringing the Ram, bringing just anything, just using the utility that you have in your back pocket with the amount of time that was left would have been great. Imagine a few breaches here and there to put some pressure, and then one player on that top floor to catch any rotations, which is exactly what you had with Shureep jumping all around and getting kills off of it. Again, disjointed a bit here on the Geekay side as CAG just keep things rolling. This is what momentum is, right? It's difficult to quantify, difficult to put into words and into numbers. It's just a vibe. And right now, the vibes on CAG, if I'm able to check them, oh boy, they are high and flying, Emmy.
5-3. CAG, they are 2 rounds away from getting themselves towards the live stages. Unfortunately, because of how the system works, MENA are only 2 rounds away from not making it this time round. They've obviously had a great year last year. They really sort of showed up as one of those new regions and rosters that got themselves through, and Geekay had experience in the live stage in Atlanta, and unfortunately this time they've just not been able to find that same magic as of yet. It's not quite done. It's not a million miles away. And this on the tertiary site is where you start the rebuild.
You have to take advantage of every single moment that is presented to you by CAG in a situation like this. And Geekay, in the meantime, are pushing in through Garage itself and on the backside of the Wine Cellar. Peeking in slowly, but this is here seriously. Nobody really supporting him. No drones, no nothing. He's spotted. They know and they get it. Black Ray trying to escape. But then wallbanged immediately to the head. Don't show this clip to thank you, by the way. But here we are. Blast has gone up and on the rappel. And the Zofia is putting some hurt down, at least trying to stun or maybe find somebody from the defense that's catching off in the window here in the library hallway. Cyrenaica is in the spot indeed, but doesn't really need to do much. He fires a couple of rounds, and that should be a pointer for somebody playing on the balcony. I believe the Brava in this case. There isn't even a Brava. I'm just imagining things at this point. But there's nobody out there to try to deal with them. And of course, can always bring the Frost around to support.
Holding on hope now of what they can build behind it. A Solace, I mean, it's a powerful removal. There's obviously the delicious sort of double stack of the soft here. But to be fair, they're just generally using it as an excuse to fight themselves outside. Blaz is making sure there's not an engagement about to come from his right shoulder as the drive is on. The Solarium windows.
There's not much that he can do in this spot, right? You have
Nothing
to
else is
clear
being forced.
You have to clear the Maestro from into the bathtub, and it's usually a great thing seeing Maestro in a bathtub, but not here. Shurip gets a kill on Trix. Where did that even come from?
The double door. Ran out main door and fireplace and gets 2! There's the 3rd! Oh no! Blaz is down. Zafir, you can't pick yourself up anymore. Neskin waiting for something to happen at this point. But the only thing happening is Cyclops getting bored of waiting, throwing themselves on the deep run out the double door, then getting the second follow through. When this team came together at the start of this, people wondered how much Shurip and Sireneko would alter, would adapt, would change Cyclops' famous playstyle. And apparently,
they made it better.
Apparently roads work both ways. Apparently lessons can be learnt both ways, and Shurip can also run out of buildings to kill people.
Absolutely.
He was detected a long time to get that kill.
But it doesn't matter. It seems like there was just disjointed comms on the GK side. There was just no reaction to what CAG were bringing on the board for the round itself. Getting Shurip in that spot, genuinely beautiful to witness. This sort of control, not just gunplay, but positional play specifically for CAG. GK on their last hope here. Should GK lose this round, it is all done for GK and MENA as a whole at the Manchester Major, and that will be crying at the end of our play. Yeah,
it's not done yet.
That's true.
It's always worth mentioning. 3 rounds isn't a million miles away. If they were 3-0 up, you would be like, they can still rebuild an even half. Now, they did that on the previous half. There is still chance. However, you cannot deny there is an insane amount of pressure on the team right now. And there's an insane amount of confidence on their opponents. Shurip 12-3. And he has been exceptional over these opening 2 play days of this tournament.
You might be asking, how do we deal with them? Well, first you have to shoot properly, but 2, you need to bring some sort of operators to clear them out, right? Deimos is a great operator for it, which is exactly why Trixt is bringing him in this case. To be fair, I don't think that CAG are specifically kind of roaming in a weird way that would require extra, roamer clear, but still, a Deimos in this case is a good reaction. However, you need multiple players from GK to work together. Drone in, use the Deimos, have somebody try to go for the pinch. If you don't do that, you won't get that entry, and then you cannot push onto the site itself. And in this case, Anatun, imagine your Mira is roaming downstairs in garage just in case.
I like this idea because they've read where the plant's going on. Now, this is a 2-factor take. You'll get yourself open onto box, they'll dip down, get the wall of fireplace done, and try and plant behind dining. Where does that hatch lead? Around that area. What does Amira have? A C4. If he's not cleared out from that position and they're able to play this as patiently as they want with a limited amount of cool time, well, there's still the pressure that has to be cleared above. Now, Key is watching for it, but he's also the man with the kit. He's also the man that needs to pop the breach at the same time. If he gets caught before they can do this wall, and importantly, the wall underneath, they're only playing with pocket tin openers in the pocket of Blaz.
Absolutely, and at least one of them is going to be used up here to open up the wall, but how do you follow up beyond it? Remember, the site is downstairs here in the kitchen. This is the old school take that we used to see many years ago, of course, before Chalet turned into its current iteration. And Blaz has realized there's somebody downstairs. I need to clear that. The Mira's around the corner, but it's Sireneko that had already gotten a kill and a second for Anatun.
There's the second Anatun, and they're only a couple away here. Cyclops are securing themselves that position and moving forward and sending GK home. Neskin, the Brazilian pickup and the once upon a time major champion, is unfortunately just sort of sat waiting and wishing there could be a bit more pressure. Trixt, who's been brilliant for the team in this map, but has been shut out of the last couple of rounds, is going to see if he can try and find a pinch on his own, but that is entirely what he is. Look at the positioning, how spread out and far away they are. If this goes away from them, all they'll do is have lost ground and lost memories. There's one! Almost Ghost the third, but he's outside the building. Like that fact, they're spraying towards x.ke of Mena at the Manchester Major. And a second body to his name. Looking at Ghosts, and these are ones that have come back. Cyclops, they're moving forward.
Absolutely incredible. Cyclops after gaming. Remember that pretty much everybody discounted in the Japan League over this past. Trope was a team that everybody kind of talked about through it. CAG end of the day, and what a performance they have had now. Their opponents from MENA, it's Geekay. The tournament not going as deep as hoped to see from the MENA representatives. I will say, big rebuild from Geekay did not work out for now, but maybe this is experience that they can use into the next time that they'll be playing in case they can make it through the stage. But hey, CAG have done it. They've made it to stage 2. That's all that matters. They'll be playing with the likes of BDS, FaZe, and Beast Coast and the like.
Now, I'm not able to obviously give you the specifics of entirely what's going on the other stream, but I will say with a little bit of confidence, this is the third team eliminated and the third team confirmed as well. The divide, it's almost done here in our phase 1. We have to give, obviously, commiserations to MENA going home, but congratulations to Japan, a region that for a long time we've wanted to see a bit of a resurgence because we've known how brilliant they were back before the regions got broken up. And now, getting a little bit of a classic taste of Cyclops back. How far will they go?
FearX are back, CAG is back. What's going on? This is
FearX
great.
might not be fully back.
Okay, look.
That's happening over there.
They beat G2 is all I'm going to say. I'll give them that. You know, that was a happy moment in many ways for FearX and the performance that they've shown. But on the other side, GK unfortunately eliminated. CAG just outplayed them in every way, shape, or form. It breaks my heart as someone from the MENA region. But you know what? Hey, the better team prevailed today, and I don't think there could be any qualms about it.